What's up everybody? Today I will be teaching you all how you should be playing each zone. I'll be going over this for both ranked and competitive Fortnite, and there's a total of 12 zones and some you'll play different than others, so be sure to watch to the end. Starting with first zone, you'll need to be landing at a spot that fits your playstyle. I have a video that shows some of the best places to land, whether you're more focused on early kills or getting set up for the rest of the game. The best way to go about early game, regardless of where you land, is to have a drop map / loot route. This means you land at the same building and follow the same route for looting and farming every game. This is something that all pros do, whether they're playing ranked, scrims, or tournaments. And what this does is raises your chances of having the advantage in off-spawn fighting and grants you more knowledge of your POI. You got your off-spawn objective out the way. Now in second zone, you should be focusing on getting better loot and farming materials. In rank, second zone isn't really that important, so if you're ready for more fighting, go for it. But in competitive, risking having your game ended here could end up being a major setback, so don't force anything. Definitely make sure to be aware of your surroundings and stay ready to fight, because you never really know who's watching you, and people definitely camp. At this point, you should be pretty well set up for endgame if you're in scrims or a tournament, or you should be ready to W key if you're in ranked. But now is probably one of the worst times to be eliminated in tournaments, because you're at a point where you may not have gotten any placement points, but you've spent around 10 minutes in that game, which if you lose it, that's 10 minutes wasted on your tournament. So during zone 3, if you're in a tournament or scrims, you should be sitting somewhere waiting for endgame. Now if you're in ranked, because you're pretty well set up, you should be looking to fight. Ranked is one of the best ways you can practice fighting, and by taking as many fights as possible, you will get better faster. In ranked or tournaments though, a good way to really get better is to go over any fights that you lose and see what you did wrong that led to that. I also have multiple videos that teach you how to become a better fighter and win more games. I'll leave that in the top right, and I definitely recommend you check it out after this video. Assuming everything is going according to plan in zone 4, with storm closing in a little bit, you are more likely to have to fight. Your goals should be able to hold your own and defend yourself against anyone. And you can gain the ability to do this by fighting a lot in ranked. Sometimes players will back off once they see that you're not going down easily, but others will fight till somebody gets eliminated. I will say though, if you have a good opportunity for a kill, you should take it. This is because your chances of getting third-partied at this time are relatively low. And depending on how the fight is going, you've probably used a lot of mats and or heals, so now you'll need a refresh. And as for ranked, I'm sure you can guess by now, but you still should be fighting. Getting closer to the start of endgame in zone 5, you should be looking to deal damage, and once again, if the opportunity presents itself, it's not a bad idea to take a fight. People are more likely to be moving around trying to get positioning or possibly looting or farming, so if you see that you can catch someone off guard, go for it. Here though, the lobby will potentially be more condensed, so try not to lose awareness of what's going on around you, especially if you're somewhere outside in the open. In this clip, I figured I was okay because we were indoors, but even if that's the case for you, keep it in mind that there could even be someone hiding inside. In ranked at this time, the lobby may not be as dense, but the players will likely be better and looking for a fight to third party. So if you're in a fight, the same rule applies. Be aware of your surroundings and be ready to fight the third party. I would say zone 6 is officially the start of endgame, and this is really where positioning is key. And there are 2 spots you want to be in at this time, and they are dead side, which is the part of the lobby where the least amount of players are, or center zone, so that you have a higher chance of being in or close to the next zone. Securing the forecast tower is definitely a good way to get the best positioning because it'll tell you where the next zone will be, which will literally allow you to stay 2 steps ahead of your competition. Just try to position yourself on the front side of each zone so that the lobby has to come to you, which will allow you to hold other players instead of being held. Now in competitive, being center zone at this time will raise your chance of getting a free refresh because some people are going to be forced to move and chances are they want to be near center zone as well. It is important though that you stay active and on the lookout for anybody that may be free because if you're just sitting in your box unaware at this time, you'll be missing out on opportunities. In Zone 7, there's going to be a lot going on, so awareness is key. You need to be aware of fights going on around you, as this could be a good opportunity for a third party and possible refresh. You also need to be aware of players around you and scouting your next possible rotate. Make sure you're keeping an eye on your map because you need to be ready to move as soon as the next zone shows. A crucial tip for rotating from this point on is to stop on rotates to regain your sprint if you have to. If you're caught not sprinting during a rotate, you are almost definitely gonna get beamed and or focused by the lobby. Also during this part of the game, if you have the ammo, you need to be aggressively looking for tags. Doing this could get you a possible beam, which could lead to a refresh, which will be great going into the final zones of the game. And that leads you into Zone 8. Everything is closing in and players are more aggressively looking for refreshes, including you. If you need a refresh, you have to go for it by this point because you don't want to just use up all your mats and heals just trying to stay alive. Doing that will almost never lead to a win, so be active and look for somebody to catch off guard or someone who's possibly weak or shambles in general. If you don't quite need a refresh at this time, your main focus should be getting out front on every zone. Chances are players will be so caught up in doing whatever they're doing that they lose awareness of zone, which could lead you to a free frontside rotate. In terms of positioning, even though the zone is getting smaller and the lobby is becoming more compact, you still want to try to be on dead side because this will allow you to rotate freely and rotate without getting bothered by any other players. In ninth zone, unless you've already gotten a nice refresh, chances are you're in need of one, even if you've been able to play pretty conservative with your mats. If you are truly good on materials though, your focus should be once again getting out front and holding players. But don't stop being active even if you're good on mats and heals, because kills are still worth points if you're in tournaments and the experience will be beneficial to you. But if you do need a refresh at this time, you'll need to be hyper active, but don't lose awareness and make yourself free. Still protect your angles, look for beams from your box, and take fights from a box as well. If you can get a good refresh at this time, your odds of winning increase significantly. As far as positioning, like I said earlier, ideally you want to be trying to get out front, but if you were looking for a refresh and aren't able to get out front early, you want to start positioning yourself to the left or right edge of zone. This will give you a better chance of being able to take a fight uncontested, and by rotating along a side, you might still be able to find a rotate somewhat uncontested. Being center at this point isn't really a great idea because there are no longer half zones and everything is just pulling far to a random spot. Meaning, if you're center zone, you'll basically be the center of attention and not be able to do anything without being looked at by multiple players. Going into 10th zone, pressure is going to be your best friend. A lot of people at this point are shambles or nervous, and you can take advantage of that by applying a lot of pressure to those around you. The best players to look for are people running freely on low ground, people rotating in late, or people in freshly built boxes, especially if it's wood. Also, look for players who are focused on someone else and try to deal damage, whether it's by spraying through their box or taking a wall. This is known as awareness checking someone, and you'd be surprised how many kills you can get from trying this. This is something that you'll also see a lot of pros doing in their endgames, and it definitely contributes to their kills and placement. For rotating this late in the game, you need to be looking for open lanes to avoid ending up in or right on someone's box unwanted, and use these lanes to get out front. And by doing this, you'll be in better position to pressure more players and raising your chances of getting another refresh and making it further in the match in general. In Zone 11, placement and positioning are more important than kills, and if you've been able to complete the objectives for the previous zones, you should be in a good enough position to win the game. And that should be your main focus here. By scouting, you should be able to tell if height is available to take, and if you have the mats and it's free, take it. But if not, that's fine, just play low ground. If you're able to take height, your main objective should just be to pressure anybody that's below you, especially second height. And you want to pressure second height because they're going to be the biggest threat to take height from you, which could potentially ruin your game. Now, if nobody's a threat to take height from you, you still want to be pressuring everybody that's below you and making them burn through their mats and possibly doing damage to players that might be distracted from fighting already. Low ground is where more shambles players will be, so be ready for people to try to aggressively get in your box in 50-50. Also, be ready to awareness check others as well, because this could get you more eliminations and materials. And keep an eye on your map so that you can continue to rotate early and get out front. If you're at a safe spot on mid ground, rotate across the tops of other players' build to stay on your own layer. Know that at this point in the game, there's basically going to be no stopping, and it's going to be a game of constantly rotating and looking for refreshes. Going into the 12th and final zone, chances are there's less than 10 players left, and here you need to think, is this going to come down to a heal off? And if it's not, be ready to fight. But if it is, you need to decide sooner than later, do you have the heals to win in heal off, or do you need to fight anyways? But if you don't have the heals, don't wait till zone fully closes to go fight. You need to get the other player or players out as soon as possible for possible siphon, heals, or the win. But everything is happening fast, and it all comes down to those final decisions, and it's up to you to be ready and to execute. Now, if you want an in-depth video on how Peterbot does it, watch this video on screen. Thanks for watching, see ya.